all the games. Guys, I need your help. This game right here and this campaign system have spoiled me for a very good reason. They're amazing. They're excellent resources for setting up, generating tabletop battles in an organic fashion, and the translation between these works out really well. The translation between these, not so much. Let's talk a little bit about the kinds of miniature wargame campaigns, and then I'll explain the difficulty I'm having, and I can tap into the collective knowledge of my viewers, because as I always say, all of us are smarter than any of us, and maybe you can help me figure out how to use something like this to generate more interesting battles for this. Let's start with the easiest campaign system there is. I refer, of course, to narrative campaigns. Bear in mind, when I say this is easy, I don't mean that as a derogatory. It's merely a descriptive, okay? There's nothing wrong with narrative campaigns. A narrative campaign is simply a series of linked scenarios that you just kind of make up. You just kind of figure it out. In Galactic Heroes, your 5-man squad have traits, and they can earn a resource called Renown that they can use in the intergame, and here it is right here. If your leader dies, for 6 renown points, you can recruit a new leader. You can recruit a new grunt for 2 renown points. Oh, look at this. You can change, you check wound status, right? Oh, wounds carry over from one to the next. If my guy takes a wound this turn, in this game, then that wound may carry over and affect the next game. Hey, we've got our campaign. We are linking Scenario 1 to Scenario 2. These are very linear affairs, and they can be very creative. We go from Battle 1 to Battle 2. And the effects carry over, and then we go to Battle 3. And we may even be able to implement a branching narrative campaign where we sit down before we roll the first die and we say, if we win with our attempt to steal a spaceship, we will go over here to the so you've got a spaceship battle. If we fail to secure a spaceship, we'll go over here to the so you got arrested and have to break out of prison game. And if we fail to break out of prison, we'll go down here to the so you are sentenced to die in the spice mines of, planet X. Can you successfully overcome your jailers? And if you can't, then look, you lost the campaign. But if you do, then you've escaped with a ship, and yay, we won, right? And you can have a series of various outcomes. This is a branching narrative campaign where there's stories, and how the story goes is it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure, but the way you choose the path is by winning or losing. And that's not what we're talking about here. Like I said, this is an easy, light, enjoyable form of a campaign. The kind of campaign that we've been playing with Chainmail is really what I'm looking at. I'm looking for an equivalent here. So let's look at one way to do that. Oh, look. Here it is right here. Instead of a skirmish, you're using big battles, your big armies, right? And here are army fights, and if they win, you go to this battle. And we're invading a country, right? And if you win the first battle, then you've formed a bridgehead, and now you get to do an invasion proper, and now you get to attack the capital city. And if you win all of these, then you win the whole campaign. If you fail to establish a bridgehead, now you're fighting on the defense, and if you lose on defense, now you're defending your capital city, right? Again, very narrative, and you just whatever army you start with, it just bloop, between battles, bloop, it goes right back to whole. In this case, maybe you started with 24 strength points or army points. Between every battle, you've got 24 army points. Maybe you have a limited ability to replenish or to swap out units. Oh, you know what? Those archers didn't do me any good. Maybe this time I'll bring an extra unit of light spear. Again, not really what we're talking about. To add a little wrinkle to that style of narrative campaign, you can do a map-based campaign. And a map-based campaign may have 2 players. We've got player 1 and player 2. And you've got some territory between the capitals. And maybe these are hexes, and maybe they are just point to point. And not all of these points are connected. So you've got an asymmetric kind of battle or terrain that looks like this, and each of your armies each of your forces, your red country and your blue country, have 3 armies. And you say, okay, well, You've got a home defense of 24 AP, and each of these armies is 18 AP, and you can move them around like so, and then, he goes up there, and maybe you're trying to flank each other so that you can get each of these armies. But the campaigns that I've seen for Dragon Rampant assume that when your armies meet, hey, we've got a tabletop battle because two armies are in the same space. You fight your tabletop battle, and then what? I guess the loser is vanquished, and the winner goes up to 24 AP. So aside from that, there's no real effect on this force. If this force loses and is forced back, how do you track casualties? Right now, we know how to do that in a chainmail campaign. Let's take a look. We go back to the Roman Empire, and here's how I track it. It's very simple. This is the Army of the West. They fought a battle on June 28th. They started out with a roster of 200 archers. The ratio is very simple. One figure is 25 archers. One base equals 4 figures, so every 1-inch square is 100 archers. Very easy. Oh, I lost one of my squares? Oh, I lost them all, you say. Okay, well, half of them are dead and they're out of the campaign. Half of them are injured and will come back on July 12th. So now, if I have a battle that takes place, well, if it's eliminated, that's easy, right? But if I have a battle that takes place on the 13th, I know how many figures I have, how many units I have. It's very concrete. The ratio in games like Chainmail and a lot of the big battle games that specify out front, hey, one figure equals this number of guys, makes it very easy to track your rosters. Dragon Rampant, on the other hand, uses a vague notion of strength points. Let's take a look at how Daniel Mersey provides guidance right here on page 1 in the introduction. Let's see if we can get the focus there. I favor abstraction and stylization to facilitate quick and streamlined play. Well, I like the sound of quick and streamlined play. Battlefield confusion and chaos means you might not get to use every one of your units. Yeah, no, I get that. But wait a minute. That doesn't tell me how many guys are in each unit. And if you even go ahead and look at this, it's your army is built from a variety of units. It's written for war bands of 24 army points. And each of these figures, has 6 or 12 strength points, which may or may not be the figure. Oh my goodness, this is all so abstract. Am I doomed to play an abstraction like this? I can't accept that. I find it very hard to believe that there isn't some way to generate a map, the map of a world. Something like this. All right, we are back to the Roman Empire. There she is. Oh, maybe there's a threat from the south. I want to be able to dump my armies down and have some idea of how effective those armies are as a fighting force. We've got one here, and one way over here. And oh, look, here comes our invaders. They are now investing Palma. And there's one coming this way up towards the Long Lake. And there's one coming up this way. How am I going to deal with these threats? Oh, maybe I can whittle this guy down. And even if I lose, I've got another army coming down that can clean them up on its way to dealing with these guys. There's got to be a way. Do you guys know of a campaign that would fit the bill for Dragon Rampant, that would allow for map-based movement and continuing tracking of casualties and fighting ability over time? And there's a level of abstraction. The only one I can think of, and I have no experience with it, and it's not for this era. The one I'm thinking of, and maybe some of you guys have experience with it, is Sport of Kings, which is contained within, if I remember correctly, what's the game? It's Todd Kirshner and Dale Wood. One of these days I'll have to tell you about my experience with those guys. Great guys. What's it called? Oh, Warfare in the Age of Reason, right? But Warfare in the Age of Reason is like well beyond and outside this bailiwick. And the map there is purely European, and it uses kind of a resource point that may be suitable for this, but I'm not sure. If you've got experience with that, or you can think of another campaign system that would work well with Dragon Rampant beyond a simple point-to-point, magically reimbursing your army for all of its casualties, let me know. Leave a link down in the comments. All of us, smarter than any of us, particularly me, really appreciate your help with this one, guys. Till next time, I'm praying for you.